Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let's say thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has given us mercy and blessings so we can gather together here without any trouble and obstacle. Secondly, my salawat and salam always be with our best Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who has brought us from the darkness to the brightness, from an education person to the educational person. My special thanks I deliver to my lecturer that has given us a time to explain our understanding about the material, Sir Dr. Kahardin SPM Home. And also don't forget my family and my friends whom I love. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Ayuni Bahramsyah and I'm from PBI B 2019, and now I'm in the 5th semester at UIN Alauddin Makassar. In this video, I will explain about curriculum and instructional development, which include 3 topics. The first is preliminary pass, the second is development pass, and the last is review pass. In this video, I'll also explain more about the 3 pass before, then explain one by one from the first pass, which is preliminary pass, until the last pass, which is review pass. So to economizing the time, let's begin the explanation. Okay, in curriculum and instructional development, the first pass is preliminary pass. In this pass, I will explain 3 points. The first is making decision on need analysis. At this stage, we are required to think about basic decision before the need analysis is carried out. What to decide? The first is we must determine who is involved in the need analysis. Then we have to decide 2 things. The first is we determine which categories of people we can involve in our need analysis. We can find out the categories of people we can involve based on Brown's theory of the 4 categories of people we involve in need analysis. The first is target group, anyone like teacher, administrator. Second is audience, who do you think will be doing the result of this need analysis. The 3 is people who do need analysis, and the last is research group, people who are a source of information for us to get information about the target group. B, we determine the number of people we will involve in our need analysis. How to determine the number? There are 2. The first is population availability, whether the people we categorize exists. The second is determine the sampling technique, whether we use a total sampling technique or random sampling. The second decision about basic decision is what information should we collect. There are 4 different philosophies that exist in the need analysis that affect the type of information we will collect. The first is discrepancy philosophy, the second is democratic philosophy, and the third is analytic philosophy, and the last is diagnostic philosophy. The selection of philosophy will certainly affect the type of information gathered in the need analysis. The tendency is the listing of the need might grow to unmediatable properties that make the curriculum designer need to decide which point of view should be taken. Then the need analysis need to sort all the information and narrow the scope of their investigation. Next, the third point, basic decision. How can we get the information, or what instrument do we use to get the information? In this session, the need analysis can use three basic dichotomies of need proposed by Brown 1955. The first is situation needs versus language needs. Situation needs refer to any administrative, financial, logistical, manpower, pedagogic, cultural, personal, or other factor that may give an impact on the program. Language needs refer to language competence of student, reason for studying English, their current abilities, and etc. The second is objective needs versus subjective needs. Objective needs are the needs identified from observable data about the situation, the learner, the language that the student finally acquire. Subjective needs refer to one's desire and expectation. The third is linguistic content versus the last is linguistic content versus learning process. Linguistic content are referred to the type of language need that the student need to learn by cut in linguistic terms such as phoneme, morpheme, grammatical structure, utterance, function, nation, discord marker, and etc. Next, gathering the information in need analysis. In this point, there are 3 points that I will explain. The first is how to distribute the questionnaire. The data gathered from the introductory question are used for showing the participant situation. For example, name, gender, age, and class, and perception on the importance of things that that we will analyze as like English skill or other that availability in the place that we do the research is like junior high school or senior high school and other. In addition, both types of information, linguistic need and learning need, are analyzed into 3 categories, and the frequency score of linguistic need and learning need are derived by giving each category score from 1 to 4 as indicate as important level that include not important, less important, important, and very important. Also for proficiency level that includes fair, that include poor, fair, good, and excellent. And the last is frequency level that include hardly ever, seldom, often, and always. The second is data presentation that represent the information analysis. To calculate frequency, the number of respondents is multiplied with its score and then divided by the number of respondents in all categories. To clarify the data presentation, some data were analyzed by using diagram to see the distribution of the level of frequency and level of importance using language skill. The overall data are then analyzed to recognize the need analysis inventory of the target group in language learning, which is then used as the basis for formulating aims and objectives of learning and designing speaking course one syllabus. And the third is using the information in need analysis. The first is review need inventory from the linguistic needs. Identifying linguistic needs are carried out by analyzing the student learning ability and learning priorities. The result of the analysis are used from prioritizing the component and selecting appropriate teaching material which are required to design the syllabus. Reviewing needs inventory from the learning needs. The student learning needs in this study were identified by analyzing the student learning problem and learning attitudes. Formulating a goal and objective. Richard 2001 120 suggests that aim have 4 main purposes. The first is to to provide a reason for the program. The second is to provide guidance from the teacher and learners. The third is to provide a focus for learning. The fourth, to describe important and realizable changes in learning. Richard 2001 123 also described the statement objective passes the following characteristic. The first is objective described as learning outcome. The second is objective should be consistent with the curriculum aim, and the third is objective should be precise and feasible. The second is development path. This is the second session that I will explain in this video. The first thing that I will explain is about selecting and organizing course content. In this session, or in selecting course content, we select the major topic and determining the order of the topics. In determining the major topic in the content syllabus that will be presented in class, the thing that can be done is to do a need analysis or consult with the teacher concerned. According to Richard 2001-48, that when conducting a need analysis, the information obtained is very helpful the development of ideas in determining the major topics. When you have found in the main topics, the next thing to do is review the main topic. Or in other words, to select the major topic is topic derived from the need and inventory, discovering the initial list of the topics. And to determine the order of the topic are consultation with teachers, review for refine the initial list to determine the criteria for sequence the course content. After that, the other thing in selecting and organizing course content is planning the course structure or design syllabus. As we know that design is realization of the inventory of need analysis into actual production. Example is syllabus, lesson plan, and prototype of the teaching material. Design of the syllabus is carried out by selecting the syllabus framework and developing the syllabus distribution of the content of the course. In selecting the syllabus framework, the design use integrate a mixed syllabus framework. There are topical or content-based syllabus that are organized around them or topics. The second is structural syllabus that organize around grammatical item, and the third is competency-based syllabus that organize based on specification or competency expect to master. This all is determined to satisfy the linguistic needs and the learning needs of the student. After that, in developing the syllabus, we distribute the course content for sector number of session, week, them, units, topics, activities, grammar item, and competencies. And the second thing that I will explain in this class is developing the teaching material. There are three procedures in developing the teaching material. The first is mapping out the course item in the form of section. Instructional blocks unit consists of several lessons. The representation of the instructional blocks in the lesson plan. The second is making the prototype of teaching materials based on the lesson plans. And the third is getting expert of ELT to review the prototype. In making the lesson plan, pay attention to the 2 points. Those are, first, use the syllabus as the guiding not to write the lesson plans, make the course general description. The second is decide the detail of the lesson plan by referring to certain the theory of lesson plan. For example, Brown 2001, goals, objective, material, equipment, procedure, evaluation, and extra classwork. In making the prototype of teaching material, pay attention also to the two things. The first is make sure that the prototype are developed based on the need inventory which have been transferred into the syllabus and lesson plan. The second is decide the organizational structure of the prototype. Then the last thing that I will explain in this phase is reviewing and validating the teaching materials. It was carried out by giving an instrument employee to review the element of the teaching materials, for example, contents, language component, activities, as well as supplementary materials. Content, for example, the diversity of topic, the relevance of the topic to the level and needs, the contribution of topic to the development of language skill, the authenticity of the material, the topics. Language component, for example, the conformity between the language component and the student level of language proficiency, the relevance of the language component to the student need, the difficulty or the assessment level of the language component, activities, the attractiveness of the activities, the aim of the activities, the relationship of the activities with real world use of a language, the form of the activities, the language focus of the activities, the encouragement of the activities to language creativity, the clarity and consistency of the activities instruction. The last is supplementary materials, instrument or media for learning a certain language component, the availability of handout, the availability of authentic material, for example, photos. Okay, the last is review phase. As we know that review phase is the process of describing the outcomes of trying out the developed course content, for example, syllabus, a lesson plan, and teaching material. This phase should be carried out into step. The first is implementing the instructional material in the classroom, and the second is evaluating the outcome of learning. In implementing the instructional material in the classroom, we must know about selecting instructional material. It can be done by the first is the topic of the instructional material are randomly selected among the 11 topic of the development teaching material. The second, the number of topic of the instructional material is selected based on the decision of tryout time allotment. The second is deciding procedure. Each instructional material is implemented in two general procedure, teaching and evaluating, with special time allotment and procedure for it. Session 1, teaching, opening, explaining, training, activities, lesson A and lesson B, 60 minutes, which is lesson A about skill getting, 50 minutes, and lesson B about skill using, 20 minutes. Session 2, evaluating activities, lesson C, review, 30 minutes, which is language game, 20 minutes, and grammar presentation, 10 minutes, and then extra classwork. Number 3, time allotment. There are two types of it. The first is general time allotment, refers to number of sessions required to try out the prototype of the instructional material. One instructional material is for one session. The second is specific time allotment, refers to the number of minutes required for teaching the instructional material for each session. One session lasts for 90 minutes. After knowing the implementation of instructional material, let's move to evaluating the outcome of learning. In this evaluation phase, summative evaluation is used for evaluating the effect of teaching the course content to the target group as the result of implementing the syllabus design and the instructional material. Summative evaluation refers to checking of what has been learned as, at a specific point in this time is like the end of unit of course. The first level is evaluating instruction that conducted by assessing a 15 student reaction or attitude after learning teaching material. The second level is learning. This is to measure that what the student have learned from the presented material by comparing their performance before and after receiving the instruction. And to know the summative evaluation from student, we can use the pre-test and post-test that can use by the following procedure. The first is the interviewers prepare a series question on three topic. Three topic, for example, family, food, as well as future plans. The student are the second is the student are then interviewed in pairs or even three to put them more at ease and realize atmosphere through the presence of a friend or a classmate. Third is the interview then led in to the interview by first of all asking yes no questionnaire, followed at some step or other by certain way question. The fourth is the student are required to reply the question in a natural speech situation. The fifth, the last, is the student speech is then scored in the writing score sheet. So maybe that's all from me and also my video. Don't forget, I wanna thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala that give us healthy until now and bless me so I can complete this final project. And don't forget also my beloved friends that become my best support system, which always support me in every condition and whom I love. Once, thank you so much, and I do apologize if there are many mistakes in my video, and I hope my video can be benefit for us, especially for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.